Hey everyone, I'm Corey, and this is
Sean?
Welcome to the Enlightened Normal Dudes podcast. It's actually our first podcast, even though this is the fourth or fifth time shooting it because we're rookies and have run into a lot of issues. But we're really optimistic that we're going to be getting this one out there.
This
And
is going to be the one.
yep, and we're going to be putting some positive vibes back into Northeast Florida and hopefully radiating outward.
I would just say if you're easily offended, you might not want to listen because we never know what's going to come out of our mouths until it actually does.
You just said it, I don't have to say it.
I know. I'm just looking over at you because, um, so if you haven't figured it out yet, I'm the conservative one. This guy's the liberal one.
I'm over here,
We're
bro.
just, I don't know. I can't tell anymore that way.
Yeah,
But we're just doing this podcast to show that, just because we have differences of opinions, that we can still respect one another's opinions and points of view. I think we do a really good job of that. We can bounce some abstract ideas off of each other. Might be political, might be spiritual, might be a light topic, might be a heavy topic. We never know. We just go with the flow and see where it lands. And
I think the key
I
is that we both appreciate high level stuff.
yes,
Like it's
exactly.
easy to do like the political talking point, like, oh, I caught you in one, I'm dunking on you. But we're not really interested in that. We really want to dissect ideas and try to find that pragmatic middle ground where maybe we can get to a place, and again encourage those around us to get to those places because certainly we can't force other people to live however we choose to live, but we all got to kind of come to agreements on what the norms are and respect one another's ability to make choices. And so Sean and I always in our conversations are kind of hovering around that, like how do we marry where we come from, what our lived experiences are, and bring that into pragmatic solutions of how we all get along and keep this thing going.
Yeah, I think the key is mutual respect and
Absolutely.
actually listening to what the other person has to say versus automatically dismissing what the other person has to say.
Absolutely.
Um, we don't know what people have been through. We don't know what people are going through in their lives. So just take the time to listen to what the message is that someone's telling you because you can find out a lot about a person that way,
And
even if you don't agree, even if you don't agree with them.
yeah, and appreciate differences. The world would be so boring if we were all the same. So whether people are religiously different, ethnically different, whatever difference it might be, appreciate it. The world would not be interesting if we were all the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Um, I think we'll start out, Corey, tell us about yourself and why you wanted to start this podcast with me.
Okay. Well, for one, you are just one of my favorite people. Um, but just a little bit of background on me. So I grew up in a small town in upstate New York. Maybe only like 3,000, 4,000 people, graduated with 140 people. Uh, I felt kind of stuck there in my late teens. I went to nursing school, but didn't really know if that was for me. So then just kind of worked for a while. And eventually I worked my way down to Seaside Heights, New Jersey, which is like one of the party capitals of the United States. And ironically, that's where I kind of got my stuff together. I met my wife. I went to school for healthcare occupation. And once I graduated, I decided along with my wife, like, hey, we wanna move down to Florida. I'd always liked it. We had vacationed in New Smyrna Beach growing up. So we moved to Northeast Florida after Hurricane Sandy. We were actually displaced for a little while, like 2 months, 3 months living with your in-laws. That'll get you to move.
That'll do it.
No, they really are wonderful.
They might be wonderful, but I'll still do it.
Yeah, yeah. So so when I got down here, I mean, culture shock for my wife and I. We're raised in the Northeast. We're both, more on the liberal side of the spectrum. So coming down here was definitely a culture shock. You can always find people that will be representative of the bad in the other side or whatever side, whether it's politics, religion, whatever. But if you genuinely want to, it doesn't take a lot to find really awesome people. So when I moved down here, met yourself, a whole bunch of
Yeah,
other people that I've made friends with, but having really good conversations and genuinely trying to understand where you come from, how your viewpoints are shaped, the same for me, and you've always respected that and vice versa. And
absolutely.
and it's been awesome. So again, apologies, I got a little sidetracked there. So once we
No
get down
worries.
here, uh, work for I think it was maybe 6, 7 years. Then I went from the hospital setting over to a physician's office. And I got to work with a really good friend who I had worked with before at the hospital, and he was my manager there. And unfortunately, he had cancer, and within about a year, he passed away. And I ended up taking up the manager role. So the combination of kind of the trauma of losing him, and then being a manager, which was awesome. I got to really try to find out a lot about myself and learn what I was capable of. So it was a great itch to scratch, and I learned a lot about myself, but I kind of got a little burnt out there. Also, this would have been back in 2022. Unfortunately, I have bad spine stuff that runs in my family, and in 2022, my lower back had been bothering me for years. So I finally said, I don't want to just, keep my wife hostage in the house because, everybody else is going out and doing stuff. And I never really felt good enough to do it. So I said, you know what, this year I'm finally going to take care of my lower back. So when I went to the doctor, they said, yeah, I probably need surgery. And then ironically, maybe a week or two later, all of a sudden my hands started going numb. And so when they did testing on that, it turns out that I needed to also have a 3-level neck fusion. So 2022 was a big year, and I ended up having both of those surgeries. I had a 3-level neck fusion or cervical fusion, 4 through 7, and then I had to have a bilateral laminectomy with microdiscectomy at L5S1, which is the lowest disc level in your lumbar spine, your lower spine. And that's where they just go in and they kind of take out a little piece of bone and then try to clear out any disc material that maybe, got shaken loose and is pushing on the spine. So when I recovered from that, I decided that I wanted to go back to the hospital setting, couple less days of work, and I like the environment, just kind of feeds my mind a little bit more, keeps me active. So I go back and I do that for about 8 months, and unfortunately, I'm just walking backwards, doing a pretty routine thing at work, and there was something in the hallway, and I tripped on it, and I just kind of moved my back the wrong way, and within about a half an hour, I felt some burning. And then a couple days later, my left leg was giving out on me. And that was over a year and a half ago. And in that time period, last June of 24, I had to have an L5S1 fusion. And then within about a month of that time, both my SI joints went. And so I had to have my left SI joint fused in December. And then I just had the right SI joint fused in August. And through that time, I just learned a lot. And it, unfortunately, for a while was really, really hard. I have a phenomenal wife. We have 3 dogs, a cat, and a parrot. I have an excellent, excellent life. I've got more support than you could ever ask for at home. But as a man, I thought that I was just okay and that I could just handle everything. And because I didn't prioritize my friendships and letting the people around me know what I needed, I kind of got out there for a little while. I got really detached from everybody, especially because I was dealing with so much back pain. There were times when I would be icing my back until like 3, 4, 5 in the morning. Then I would pass out, wake up in the afternoon. So my schedule was all over the place. It was easy to lose track of people. And people are just living their lives. So if you're not, letting them know that you need help or what's going on, it's easy to kind of fall off the map.
It's always good to reach out if you're struggling for sure.
Yeah,
Like,
and
don't be too proud. if you're
100%.
having a hard time, always reach out to those people that'll support you.
Yeah, you definitely, definitely do not want to be a proud boy.
Don't be a proud boy. Perfect
Yeah,
timing.
sorry, it took me a second to get that going. But yeah. So eh, it was just a lot, and Sean was a huge piece of kind of bringing me back and being a tether for me. You know, obviously my wife is great. I actually have a lot of great women in my life, former coworkers that are part of our friend circle. And when they found out how much trouble I was having, they were like, "Hey, just let us know. We're happy to be there for you." Um, eh,
Exactly.
yeah, but again, it's tough. We live in a society that tells men they're supposed to be tough, and honestly, there was nothing macho about me not reaching out. It was just kind of like my conditioning and just thinking like, "Ah, this isn't that big of a deal." So, yeah, the big thing of why I want to do this, and then not only why I want to do this, but in particular with you, is obviously I just said that I think that you are a person of the highest character. I love the fact that we don't think the same, but that we're both pragmatic and want to find solutions that help people coexist. And sometimes
Exactly.
that means that you have to accept that people will live differently or make choices differently than you. But at the same time, you have to realize that like you can't control everybody's life, but you do have to find that happy medium.
You do.
And so we are both people that, while we have our quote unquote ideologies or in a perfect world how we would live, we understand that if we're going to live with other people, we have to meet them halfway and not just constantly be caught up in our ideology and just saying, well, this is what I believe, so this has to be the rule. There's no room for that. We can't live that way. And so Sean about and I have always had these really great conversations where we say, hey, what pragmatic solution could we try to apply to this? You know, like we know that we kind of have our ideology over here and over here. How could we kind of find that middle ground? And maybe, neither of us would be completely happy with it, but we could say, hey, we kind of extended an olive branch. And
Hmm.
so hopefully we can both respect that, this is a good middle ground. And
Yeah,
so
not.
just love that.
I also think, like when we're talking on the phone about some pretty complex ideas, it's always like, we should record this because it's actually pretty entertaining. And, like I said, you never know what's going to come out of our mouths. So the next,
Yeah.
it could just be, it could be something wild or very light, very heavy. But what's really awesome is that we can talk about things that most people would probably be like, "Yeah, I don't know. That's pushing the borderline."
Yeah. But again, our conversations, we just always have felt like we're at such a high level that it should be done in front of a studio audience because they would just appreciate it, you know?
I, yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the award for Emmy goes to.
Captain Shawnee.
But yeah, that's kind of my expedited background. Obviously, there's a lot more, but I've just been through particularly a lot of health issues in recent years. And so I have a newfound respect for how much I need other people. And I've always prided myself on not needing people. So
Yeah, I know,
this,
but when I saw some of your Facebook posts, I'm like, "Hey, buddy, do you need something?"
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just saying. I'm like, "Hey, let's talk."
yeah. And that's something too, right? Like once you go down the pathway of being introspective and wanting to look at yourself and how you tick and how you can be better, you learn ways to reach out. But certainly we need those people around us that care about us to also be looking and saying, oh, wait, they're looking a little off. Let me check in on them. But again, this idea of community, and especially with how polarized and crazy things are right now, we all got to just take the temperature down. You got to look around, look at your neighbors, look at your coworkers, and realize these are the people that that you live with. I mean, they're your community, and they're not against you. Like we all need one another, and recognize
No,
the value
exactly.
in that.
No, for sure, exactly. So you're gonna have to coexist with them anyway. So you might as well understand
Well,
what
there
their
is.
point of
Well,
view.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Ideally,
So ideally, you just want to get along.
yeah.
Oh my. Yeah. Um,
The alternative
but
is definitely not a good one.
no, no, no. We don't want to play that game, I don't think. Uh,
That was dark. That
I'm
was
s-
dark.
I am so disappointed right now.
Yeah, but it's predictable. So, Sean, flipping the script,
Yes, sir.
what is the reason that you wanted to do this podcast with a very charismatic and handsome friend?
I haven't met that friend yet. Who are we talking about? Um, well,
You don't get a joke for that.
no, I don't get a ding ding. No.
Mm-mm. No.
Okay. I'm sorry. I hurt your feelings. But you are looking quite like the Mandarin right now. And if anyone knows who that is, props.
Ben Kingsley, Iron Man 2.
Two, I believe. So, well, I am more of the traditional ideology, conservative ideology. Um, I like to hear all opinions, but I definitely am a conservative. Um,
I
uh,
definitely am a conservative.
well, I mean, I'm just saying, I can't get on the. I can't.
Yeah,
I
you
can
don't.
listen.
Did you? What were you gonna say? I can't get on the list. Is that what you're saying?
I can't.
I don't want to be on the list.
I don't want to be on the list. Anyways, so I was born and raised in North Florida, also in the healthcare field for the last 16 years. That's how I met Corey, and we exchanged inappropriate memes, and then next thing you know, we're having high level conversations.
But the inappropriate memes still persist as well.
They still persist.
Though all
Sometimes
of
I'm
those
like,
things can
"What are you
coexist.
sending me, man?" Um, but no, born and raised here in North Florida. I'm actually living 3 miles away from where I actually grew up.
And when we cut this in post, this is where we're going to display your address on the
Yes,
screen.
please. That'd be
Okay.
great. All hate mail goes to Corey, by the way. Um, he's the talent, so you have to make sure that he gets all the mail. Um,
Corey
we'll
gets
we'll
all
get
the
a
mail.
we'll get a all the mails plural. Anyways, um, I lost my train of thought again, but I did lose my train of thought.
No, it's all right.
So
You are
North
so
Florida,
so let me try to reorient you.
yeah,
This is your scene. You're a conservative.
I am a
Definitely
conservative,
conservative.
definitely conservative.
You live in North Florida.
Live in
You've
North
lived
Florida
here most of your life.
all of my life,
All of your life.
all of
Definitely
my life,
conservative.
definitely
And
conservative.
go.
All right. So I truly feel blessed because I live where most people vacation. It's nice and sunny out 80% of the year, uh, except for the occasional hurricane. But who's counting? That's fine. We
It's
only have
fine.
we have two of them off the coast right now. Whatever.
It's
We have
fine.
got plenty of water.
This is the Gunshine State. We'll shoot them right out of here.
Oh, by the way, yeah, they just you can open carry starting today.
How wonderful is that?
I don't know. It's yet to be
God is
determined.
good, Sean. God is good.
So I was going through a rough patch, and Corey helped me through it after a breakup. It took me a little bit of time to, get past just being in a funk. And he reached out to Corey. He would guide me on things to do and how to bring my stress level down, my anxiety level down, because it's a real shock to the system, real shock to the nervous system. But it did take me, 3, 4 weeks to actually pull out of the funk, even eat normal. But one thing I can say is, it always gets better. God in the universe will provide, and the God in the universe for me will always lead you down the right path as long as you don't take the destructive way. Lean into it do the healthy option. I had plenty of opportunities that I could have said, "Hey, let's go to the bar. Let's go get drunk. Let's drink our problems away." And I did the complete opposite. I was like, "Alcohol is not helping me. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to talk it out with people that I care about, especially Corey, and I'm gonna get through this as quickly as possible and just be my normal person. And actually, I feel like a better person
Yeah, well, you
because I
maintained
went through
positive
it.
investments in yourself. That was the key.
It
And while you did seek out help and that's awesome. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, you chose to make good choices, positively invest in yourself. It's easy, to just say, "Oh man, I can't deal with this emotion. I'm going to go out and drink or, whatever."
exactly.
But you just kept making positive investments in yourself, and that's awesome because
It,
you really have done well.
realistically, now God, the universe, your spirit guides, whatever you choose to believe in, they provided me a very amazing path currently, and I'm truly blessed. I feel amazing. I absolutely feel amazing. But an- another thing that I didn't realize, though, too, that was playing a contributing factor was a hormone imbalance. I'm not going to go into the hormone, but I think you guys can figure it out. Once I got that regulated and, in the gym, eating healthy, I feel so amazing physically. It's not even funny. Like I can do anything. I can conquer anything.
You look amazing physically.
Thank you. That way it's to the beach. Um, but thank you for telling me that I look amazing. I appreciate that. Well, welcome. You don't have a button for that?
Hey, listen, man, you know that I'm going to be getting all sorts of sound effects. There's so many things that have come up in my mind as you've been talking. Like you were like, you got to regulate your hormones. And I'm like, oh my God, if I could just play like the intro to Regulators.
Right.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, no, get that figured out and um just like you said, positive investments, never lose faith, never give up on yourself and just keep on pushing through. It does get better, even if it's 1% a day. You
Yeah.
get better every day. And I would sit in bed when I was at my lowest, and not saying that it lasted a long time.
And she wouldn't
It
say
come
that
and wave.
anyways. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't last very long. Um, but it comes in waves, and laying in bed, it's like, how can I positively affect the world? Like, I want to get the message out that tells everybody, hey, everything gets better. You just have to be positive. You have to invest. You have to keep moving forward because eventually you're like, why was I even upset about that? You know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's
I actually go to therapy now. My wife has gone to therapy for years and she swears by it. And just because I was struggling so much in this recovery, I started going to therapy, and it's wild because you think that you've got everything figured out, right? And you go to a professional whose job it is to do this stuff. And if they're good, right, they ask you questions and you just kind of lay stuff out there. And one of the epiphanies, I actually, when I initially went to therapy, my wife had me go with her to her therapist because um, she had noticed such a change in me, and I, was having such a tough time. And when the therapist asked me to lay out the last couple years and all the surgeries I had been through and what that was like, midway, I just broke down crying. And I was just like, how the hell did I think I was okay? Like, and so that's the thing. And you don't have to have a lot of surgeries to, be in a place where, um, you've still dealt with a lot, whether it be emotional, physical, whatever. But sometimes going and seeing somebody professional, and again, not for everybody, but wow, I mean, it just blew my mind that this thing that I just thought, because you wrap it up in your head, you're like, oh well, I've been through this, and you just keep going, you figure it out. But when I laid it out, I just broke down crying. I was like, how did I think I was okay?
Yeah, no, I understand, and I really value the people that were there for me. Just, I mean, I know you went to therapy. I didn't go to therapy, but I was just bouncing ideas off of the people that I care about, especially you, Corey.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it really helped, and it brought my like I would get waves of anxiety, and I'm like, dude, I just need to
Just to
throw
talk.
some ideas at. I need to throw some ideas at you because like I just need to come down. You
Yeah,
know, in 5, 10 minutes of talking, it's like I'm good. Like
yeah. And you just needed some help processing stuff. Yeah.
exactly.
And again,
But
it's not like I was figuring anything out for you, but just talking it out with you, you know?
yeah, it's just talking it out, and don't be too proud to reach out to the people you care about to even say, hey, I'm struggling. Like
Yeah.
let's just talk.
And anybody, it goes for anybody, but especially men. Don't be a proud boy.
That- That's how you get on the list.
But seriously,
But
all joking aside, for men it is particularly tough. I mean, obviously we're raised to, be the protectors, be the tough guys. I'm not saying that anybody or everybody has the same experience where they're being told they shouldn't seek help, but I just think in general as men, we're kind of supposed to be tough and we lean into that. And a lot of times you think that you're doing okay with stuff. If you start peeling some layers back, maybe there's some stuff you got to deal with, and that's okay.
well, I recently, watched this, a sermon on it's on men's worship night, and they actually had a really awesome guy. He was an MMA fighter, um, combat veteran, and a Harvard graduate. And he talked for about an hour, and he was explaining about masculinity and being able to also be a man of God. And it really hit home for me. And I introduced Corey to the pastor, and he says that the pastor has a really cool vibe, which that's that's pretty awesome to me, man. Like I'm glad
Yeah.
that I'm
No,
glad you took
man.
the time to see that.
Yeah, I appreciate, listen, man, all I care about is if something is bringing positivity into the world. And so
Yeah,
my hang up with organized religion is when it's what I feel is too ideological, not willing to find middle ground with the people around them, and just constantly kind of like highlighting the differences and, just drumming things up. That dude you had me watch was wonderful. He had such a good vibe, he's joyful and,
yeah,
really seems to just want people to use religion to be better, to look out for one another, and
ex-
that's what we need is
exactly.
whatever
So
you.
we'll
I'm sorry, go
we'll
ahead.
try not to be as on the religion aspect of it on the podcast. I mean, we can discuss it, but
Well, that's the
we're not
thing.
gonna
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
not gonna force our opinions on anyone.
Not at all. Because
We're
again,
just
Sean is more into organized religion than I am. I tend to be on the outside where I'm kind of in the Buddhist realm, but I have an appreciation for again anything that's trying to bring positivity into the world. And so, as long
exactly.
as you're using whatever your spirituality, religion, whatever it is, to be positive, to be better, to help those who need help, I got no beef.
I understand. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. But no, that
Um,
was a cool sermon. I love the vibe.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just happy that you watched it. I mean, I wasn't entirely sure you were gonna watch it, so I was like,
Bro,
I hope that lands.
you're my bro. I have to, man.
All right, all right. I'm just making sure.
By the way, have you
Um,
watched an episode of Impact Theory yet?
absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even have time to watch our podcast. How?
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I have a life outside of this.
Mm-hmm. Nah, it's all
Hmm.
good.
Um, but no, I think that's what our goal is one to bring up some tough topics, one to bring up some light topics, but also be hopefully entertaining and amusing for the people watching. That's the
Absolutely.
goal. Um, yeah, we definitely want to bring a positive spin to the community. Like Corey was saying, bring the temperature down with just everything in society right now. Like we don't need to be divided, and if anything, we need to stick together.
Yeah.
no matter what your opinions are.
And I think eventually too, we're going to cover all sorts of cool topics. But again, I think that we will parse them in a way that is not inflammatory. It's truly meant to just kind of dissect difficult issues and maybe show where there's a pragmatic middle ground. I mean, for instance, I'm a Northeasterner that was not a big pro gun person, and now I am. And, not as much as other people, but I still see the
Well,
benefit.
you honestly know more about guns than I do, and I'm pretty well versed. I'm
Hey
just
man, I'll
saying.
take it. But no, but honestly, I've come to appreciate it, and not in like any kind of crazy way. I just genuinely through conversation, honestly, the biggest thing that started to move me is when I came down here, and there were a lot of like tiny women that we worked with. And, inevitably, especially when you come from somewhere else, people are asking you questions and they kind of assume that you're a certain way, which I was. And so, those conversations come up. And when I found out that all these tiny women had guns, and they're like, yeah, they're like, I was raised with them. I know how to be safe with them. And if it's dark out, I'm not going to, be mismatched against somebody, God forbid. And I was like, how could I argue against that? I mean,
No,
so, so
that's a
again,
good point
if,
of view.
if you listen to people, if you genuinely listen to them, you'll be surprised where you can find middle ground. Yeah,
Yeah. So, do we want to dive into our first topic of the night?
we do.
We do. So, let me just scroll and make sure the algorithm's not listening. So, during this process, what I've noticed is the algorithm for social media is definitely driving us apart. I know that the algorithm's feeding me stuff that I want to see, and I'm sure that the algorithm is feeding Corey stuff that he wants to see, and it's always going to be to sell the product, and we have to realize that it is entertainment and not actual facts.
Mhm.
Because if you watch one reel, it says this, that somebody's a problem. On Corey's reel, it'll say what somebody else is a problem. And then it just drives us apart and we start creating resentment for each other.
Yeah, and I think
Uh,
particularly is liberals and conservatives. Not only does it show you something saying that somebody else is the problem, but it shows you the absolute worst examples of the other side. And it tries to convince you that anybody with either a D next to their name or an R next to their name is all the same. And so those lunatics that you're seeing online where you're like, "Oh my god, these people are crazy." You think that that is representative of the entire other side. And all you have to do is just get off your phone and talk to the people around you and realize, "Oh no, most people are pretty normal." It is so
no, agreed.
dangerous the way social media is dividing us. Yeah.
It is, and just how it tracks you. Like
Mhm.
I would like to understand the algorithm. Like I said, going back to the breakup, it knew that I was breaking up before I actually did because it was feeding me breakup videos within 24 hours, and I'm like, I never once searched a breakup video. Is it listening to my phone conversation? Is it?
Were they country breakup videos?
Yes, they were. Absolutely.
That's even
Carrie Underwood to be exact.
that's even sadder than a normal breakup video.
It is. I know it's bad, but my point was that somehow it's tracking and it knows what to feed you. And again, I'm in. I've been going to the gym a lot. Obviously, 6 days a
Oh,
week
it's
now.
very
Eating.
obvious. It's very obvious.
Yeah. Thank you. One day I'll take my shirt off and you guys can see my biceps. Where's the other half?
That's what she said. Oh,
Oh, burn. But now the algorithm's leaning more towards
thank you. Thank
now
you for
the
that.
yeah. Now the algorithm's leaning more towards gym videos because I guess I check in at the gym too frequently.
Well, Jim,
And it's
Frank,
always
John, whatever.
yeah, it's giving me just all the bro advice, how to eat enough protein and stay in a caloric deficit all day long.
Oh, you do look like you're getting a lot of protein.
I am getting protein. Had to go there, didn't you?
I don't know what you mean.
I don't either. What do you what are your thoughts on the algorithm?
Yeah, I mean, the same as you. When it comes to buying stuff, anybody who's buying anything on social media other than on Marketplace is out of their mind.
That is a correct statement.
Yeah. Um, but
Amazon or nothing.
yeah, well, for the most part, but I mean, like, searching the web, or like at least going through like these deal sites that'll kind of like go through multiple sites and find the best deal for you, but you're not getting some kind of great deal off of Facebook or
Sure.
any other social media. But
I like that. I like that story you were telling me. You know, you were looking up a product, and it's like, do you want 10 of them?
yeah, no,
Yeah,
no, I don't even want one of them. But
yeah,
yeah, what scared me more than anything. Now, like we're talking about how the algorithm, in particular, politically and every other way possible, divides us, and like we know this now. Like we know that these big tech companies know what drives us, right? And it's sex and anger. And so basically those are the two things that are, they're amping
it's
us
a
up
lot
like
easier. It's a lot easier to be angry at somebody
hmm
than to be happy.
absolutely.
So, um,
But
it's
when
just it's an easier emotion. Sadness and anger are the two easiest emotions to have, and happiness is not actually the easiest.
absolutely. Absolutely. But what really scared me is because like we know this, right? So it's not like it's a new thing. But I had an experience recently. Like I think I've been on and off of Twitter now X multiple times, but it's never been a platform that I like would utilize a lot. Very
Yeah,
very infrequently. Never really followed anybody. So the algorithm doesn't know who I am on there. And what's really interesting is that I signed into it recently, and ironically, I was just doing it for fantasy football updates. Somebody told me that's one of the best ways to like be ahead of the curve on fantasy football, getting breaking updates about players, whatever. I'm sure everybody's very interested. So I get on there, and the automatic algorithm that it feeds me, with knowing nothing about me, is like hyper political from both sides, the worst examples from both sides. And you can tell, for one, it just knows that politics is where its money is, right? If it can figure you out and start developing you, a stream, then it's going to keep you engaged. That's where its ad revenue is. But it was shocking at like how blatant it was because it was legit. I mean, it had to be like 85% politics. And again, the worst examples, like
yes.
absolutely inflammatory stuff. And it was just begging for me to push on something so it could be like, aha, and then start
We
like
got
feeding
you.
me stuff.
Click.
Yeah, but it's like it's so insidious and it's so right up in your face, it's mind blowing.
So maybe I shouldn't have followed Donald Trump and Elon Musk and all the particular parties on X, huh?
Bro, you can follow whoever you want. You do you.
Hey, listen, it's entertainment.
Yeah, yeah. And well, I think that's the thing though, right? Is like now I think it's good that it's definitely coming to the forefront that people are becoming increasingly aware of how dangerous this stuff is. And so we really need to start teaching people like social media hygiene, how to use it in a decent way that's not warping
Exactly.
your brain, that you're not becoming addicted to it, that you take it for entertainment and don't get your news from it, that you know how to vet, sources properly. And again, there is
Yeah,
no
exactly.
omnipotent information source, but certainly there are ones more reputable than others.
There are more reputable, but remember, even with mainstream
A
media,
hundred percent.
they're gonna slant it to the
Yeah.
direction that you're gonna watch and watch the commercials,
Yeah,
basically.
and
So
that's why I provided that caveat because I do
yeah,
understand that there is no perfect omnipotent source where you just go, that's the source. One really good one, and maybe they can become an advertiser eventually. Ground News. Are you familiar with Ground News?
I'm not
It's actually pretty cool. When
familiar.
you get a chance, check it out. It's funny. We should totally be getting ad revenue for this. Well, we don't have any
Um,
subscribers yet.
we need
Um,
some
yeah,
subscription. So
yeah,
if you think that we have pretty faces, please,
yeah. Like and subscribe. Like and
like and subscribe because that would
subscribe.
be pretty awesome.
Yeah, but no, Ground News, literally they will go and take like a particular article and break it down by how slanted it is to one side or the other, provide you with alternatives to that like same narrative based on it, and then they'll show you like who's just straight up not even covering it, who's just like ignoring that particular story. It's really cool.
No, I'm gonna have to check that out
Yeah.
because
You
you
would
know,
you would know about them if you ever watched Impact Theory, like I asked you to.
oh, is that what it
Well,
is?
no,
Okay.
they're all over everything, man. You'll find people
Well,
pushing them all the time.
it looks like it's going to be a washout this weekend, so I might have plenty of opportunities to watch some Impact Theory and listen to it.
I don't
But
even.
even even
We'll know that we've
the
made it big when we
listen,
are
even
on Tom
yeah,
Bilyeu's
yeah.
podcast.
But even the news channels that I tend to lean towards, still I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Like I know it's trying to sell me something, it's trying to spin it their way, and I can't always get on board with
Well,
that.
I think once you become an enlightened normal dude,
Yeah,
um,
and like normal dudes are pretty
well,
easy
it's
going.
it's just funny how blatant stuff is. Like you again,
Yeah,
you watch whatever your news network, and you know which way they're slanted, and you can
yeah.
tell that the way that they frame the title is obviously pushing the narrative that they want, and then just all of it. And if you wake yourself up to that, it almost becomes comical and sad at the same time.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, I think the main takeaway from this algorithm talk that we're talking about is just realize it's entertainment and don't base your life on Instagram, Facebook reels because it's while they might have some merits and they might have some truth, it probably isn't always going to be the truth.
Yeah.
It's going to be slanted in your direction
And I think
that you want to see.
yeah, you have to keep your goals in mind too, right? And so like at the end of the day, we all have our different stuff. We want to be there for our family. We want to be able to pay our mortgage off in a decent amount of time, so on and so forth. But we should also have in the back of our heads like we want to live in a healthy, productive society. And so we should
Exactly.
we should all ask ourselves, how do we contribute to that? What do we do? And certainly the type of media we consume and what we allow ourselves to believe, and then the way in which we deal with one another or lack thereof, says a lot about us. And that should really be a focus. We should all want to get along for the most part. I mean, obviously there's going to be, extenuating circumstances, but for the most part, we should want to get along. We should want to make this whole thing work.
Yeah, I'd say also too, just thinking about it now too, is if you want to have healthy relationships, whether it be romantic relationship, friendships, or anything, don't buy into the social media because it ruins relationships.
It really
Social
does. Yeah.
media ruins relationships. And like I said, I'm not talking about the romantic relationships. I'm talking about with people that you genuinely care about, family members, friends, doesn't matter. But it definitely can drive a wedge in between people.
Yeah. And we got to stop. You got to take time in your life and just again reorient yourself to what matters. And you should consciously not want to drive wedges between you and the people that you care about. And so
Sure.
you should be asking yourself, how do I avoid that? And that doesn't mean, I mean, sometimes you may have a genuine disagreement and you got to work that out. And hopefully you can do it through good conversation and genuinely trying to come together.
Sometimes you just want to get out of Thanksgiving dinner and you just trying to piss everyone off so you don't get invited.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's that too.
But yeah, people got to stop and think about, what are we trying to achieve? What are my goals at the end of the day? What do I want my life to look like? What do I want my relationships to look like? And I think often if you are introspective enough and take the time to look at yourself, you'll start realizing, wow, I'm doing a lot of things that are actually working against those goals.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, you have any final thoughts on the algorithm before we move on?
No, just again, I genuinely hope that particularly in this time of kind of craziness in our country, that we all look inwards and say, how can I help be a part of the solution? And when it comes particularly to the algorithm stuff, realize that there may not be something more adversely contributing to our problems than these social media algorithms. Like they literally might be the worst thing inflaming things right now. And
Very well
so,
could be.
yeah, we should all be really, really super careful. And again, get on social media, connect with your friends, your family, keep it light. Use Marketplace. Marketplace is awesome. Who doesn't love scoring a good deal? But
Is it still available? And you know,
I
is it still available? That's
think
all I
so.
ever get.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Cool. Yeah. If it's there, it's
I'm
available.
good for those. I'll check like a week later and be like, oh wow, it's still there. Maybe I can get a
I'm
dollar or
good
two
for.
off.
I'm good for you. Good for. I'll give you $3 and a bag of Skittles for
And then I'm like, what kind of Skittles?
it. Tropical.
Oh no, no. Classic. Classic or bust.
Classic. Well, that's a good segue. We're getting into finding common ground with everyone, and also resilience.
Yeah.
So, like you said, connect with people, find the common ground, listen to what they have to say. You'd be surprised that we're actually not as different overall as you would imagine. While sometimes values and not even values, let's walk that back. Sometimes just ideology doesn't necessarily mesh, but overall, I feel like everyone's is a they're a good people. They're not they everyone wants the same thing,
Yeah,
live in peace,
absolutely.
have a family, have someone that cares about them.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean,
And it used to be that our disagreements, we at least just tried to talk out, like the gun debate. And again, not getting too far into it. It's a reasonable conversation. Like our country is cool because it was founded on the idea that, hey, we recognize the governments can get crazy, so we want the people to be armed, right? And then
oh, exactly.
and people have made a whole bunch of arguments. Well, society's become a lot more civilized and we've got more population density and all these things. And those are all fair conversations to have, but you can't scream down at the other side. You've got to, genuinely come to the table, recognize the temperature of the room, recognize, again, that it is enshrined in the Constitution. So you've got to deal with that. Like it's there, so you can't just talk about it like you're in Australia or Britain. Like you're not. You're in this
Correct.
place where it's there. And so,
Even though when Australia got, did their gun ban, violent crime went up 70%, just saying.
yeah, no, but that's the cool thing is if you had these dialogues, you can parse that all out. But that's how it used to be, and somewhere along the way, people just started screaming at each other and not wanting to hear the other side. And I get it's difficult. I mean, when you see a lot of these mass tragedies, it pulls at your heartstrings. It's awful. Um, but again, the only way you can parse those things out is to talk to one another.
No,
And
exactly.
yeah, and the majority of people that I talk to that I've been around down here in Florida are just normal people that want to be able to protect themselves. They see it as a hobby. They want to make sure that, they can be competent at it. God forbid things ever do get weird. Those are not unreasonable things.
Well, I equated in my head as, I have fire extinguishers.
Hmm.
I don't ever want to use a fire
Sure.
extinguisher,
Yeah.
but I mean, yes, I know that a fire extinguisher and a firearm are not the same thing. I understand,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's also one of those things, if it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Absolutely. And
I'm j-
again, when you look at other countries, right? Like how safe we've been and how stable we've been as long as we have is not the norm. And I mean, certainly we can all feel it right now that things are getting a little weird. In COVID, we experienced weird times.
yeah.
We've had a whole bunch of these big movements. When there's some police brutality or all these different things that go on, you can see that society can kind of devolve, and it can happen rapidly. And this is going to sound
They could be it could be a flashpoint. I mean, it
yeah,
doesn't it happens pretty quickly. I mean,
yeah. And as stupid as this
it,
may sound, my mom, God forbid she sees this, can be like my crazy Florida
oh my
son now.
gosh.
But like
Hi, Mom.
The Walking Dead was really like a show, and again, it had nothing to do with the zombie aspect of it, but just the idea when society breaks down, how things fracture, and it's like, oh, okay, people with weapons, they kind of run stuff now because that's the
Well,
currency, that's the immediate currency.
well, let's just hope that this podcast can save the society from breaking down. That'd be pretty
Absolutely.
awesome,
Oh my
wouldn't it?
God. If we could be like Bill and Ted, where we're like
Yeah.
everyone just be awesome to one another,
Yeah, just be
dope.
cool. Just be cool, man.
Yeah, yeah, but no, but like having these conversations, like again, these are high level conversations, and I promise you, I come from a completely different background than Sean, but we have a mutual, place that we've reached, and it's pretty much the same, like I think for the
Yeah.
most part, Sean and I are kind of in agreement where that's at. And it's all just from talking and wanting to understand one another. And again, I've had to realize there's a big difference between the world I wish I was in. Like, I think that if you asked most conservatives, if we could be in a world where we genuinely didn't feel like we needed guns, that people weren't intermittently violently murdered or, harmed, would they want to live in that world? Absolutely. But there's a big
Well, I
difference between the
mean,
world you live in and the one that you wished you lived in. And that was
there
a
are
piece that I had to make.
there unfortunately still is evil in the world.
Sure.
I mean, it might not. I would say the majority of people are not evil, but I
No.
mean, there's evil out in the world, and you have to be able to defend and protect yourself
Yeah.
from that, and that's how I feel. And I actually enjoy going out to the gun range. It has nothing to do with anything other than going out there, listening to the target, the steel targets go tink 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 tink. It's awesome. There's nothing to me. There's That's a really cool thing.
Yeah, and it's fun to be proficient and feel like you're taking a little bit of like you're taking your life into your own hands in the way that like, hey, again, and we have to admit, like the statistics overwhelmingly show that more often than not, somebody's gun is turned against them. Blah blah blah. Again, I'm in no means by no means am I saying that I'm Dirty Harry. If somebody comes in my house, I'm chasing them down. I will tell you, I'm always going to be the person that's going to be freaking out. I'm going to scream out, "Hey, I'm calling the cops. The gun is pointed at our bedroom door. Don't come in. Get out of our house." I'm
Sure.
not that Dirty Harry guy. I'm nothing like that. But just
No.
the idea that in an uncertain world, you can take some ownership over your security because who knows, man? Things could get weird. A bad hurricane comes in, totally decimates Florida's infrastructure. Things get really weird all of a sudden.
Yeah, definitely could.
Yeah.
But we got a little off topic. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's a
It's
taste of
finding
where we
common
can go
ground, but
with
I
it.
think I think that we just illustrated how two different political views can actually agree on a topic.
Sure.
Shocking.
Yeah. Yeah. But it
um,
does require people getting out of their silos. Like a big thing for me over the years was wrestling with that idea. Because liberals, this is the thing. Like, I remember talking to this dude at a gun store one time, and he's going on and on about New York and all their rules, da da da. And I was just like, well, you have to realize, like, they're not like all crazy. Like, I grew up in a town. Now, granted, I was in a small town and a lot of people did have guns, but a lot of us didn't. And we just felt pretty safe. We didn't feel like we needed them. And
sure.
that doesn't make you a bad person. But on the other side of that, just because I feel comfortable and safe, that doesn't mean that other people should, particularly if they don't live where I live and their circumstances are completely different. So
Absolutely.
so again, this idea of recognizing that how you feel about a situation is fine, but then, other people are entitled to feel the way that they want. And then also from a liberal perspective, you do have to realize it's in our constitution. We can argue about what they meant, are people twisting it, blah, blah, blah. You could do it. You can make those arguments, and those are arguments to have out in the open, without violence, and try to eventually work to some kind of middle ground. But that's all you can
No,
do.
exactly.
Yeah.
Um, well, I think we're coming up towards the end. I'm hoping that everyone that's watching
That was
this
good. That was like a plug. It looks
is,
like we're
yeah.
coming up on the end.
You like what I did there?
Yeah.
Um, but I think I hope that anyone watching this actually enjoys, and maybe this is some entertainment, some food for thought. We're planning on doing at least one a week, at least in the beginning. One a week should be about where we're going to be. Topics are going to vary. Like I said, it might be something heavy you don't want to hear about. It might be something light and funny.
And hopefully we can get some feedback. And if people put in comment sections things that they're interested in, I personally am not opposed to dealing with like current events and whatnot. You know, Sean and I just have to be able to talk amongst ourselves and make sure that we're finding the best way to parse it out. Because again, we want to be respectful of people. Want to make sure that we chew on it a little bit and come up with a thoughtful way to digest something
Yeah.
and then have a good
We're,
conversation about it.
yeah, we're also not trying to force our opinions. We're just
Absolutely not. Yeah.
having we're this is really just a debate between Corey and I on topics, just bouncing ideas off of each other. Um, but I think that it'll be very entertaining, and we at some point plan on actually having guests on that can speak to different things, and Corey can go into a little more on that.
Yeah, well, I mean, because we've worked in the healthcare field, we've got all sorts of interesting people that we've worked with in every different facet at every different care level. Know some cool physicians, you know, respiratory therapists, nurses, all different sorts of people. I've got a friend from back home that's doing some cool social media stuff. At some point, we could have him on. And again, just highlighting people, A, that are bringing positivity into the world. And then if we could also get them to take part in these conversations and be a part of a constructive conversation that's trying to find pragmatic solutions and move society in a good direction. And, you know, that's what it's really about.
Absolutely. But again, I hope you guys have enjoyed listening to us. I know we do get off topic, but I think that's part of it is being raw and unfiltered. We never know what we're actually going to say until we say it. This is
Sean
not strict.
Williams, the raw, unfiltered story.
The Captain Shawnee. Uh, just so you guys know,
Captain Shawnee.
Captain Shawnee. You're caller number 9 on the Captain Shawnee show.
But yeah,
But
I mean, this is what we do. We have really good conversations, and you know, we enjoy it, and we hope that other people can enjoy it. But again, more than anything, I know from my perspective, I'm sure Sean shares this, but we just want to encourage people to maybe look at the way that we're having conversations and try to have similar conversations in your own life. Try to actually
yeah,
find common ground with people in your life. We need to do it. And if it feels good to not be at each other's throats all the time, it's unnecessary,
except for that one time.
except for that one time at band camp.
Yeah, band camp.
That flew.
No,
Oh my God, we need a
honestly,
slide whistle. I need to get props. I need a slide whistle. I don't even need to do the little digital board over here. I should like have symbols. I should have like a slide whistle
or tea in the background.
or tea in the background. Yeah. I mean, she
I
could really
mean,
be operating the whole thing.
she could be. She could be running the soundboard
She could.
or the
I told you that light would
the
look better
sound
once it got
effects.
dark.
Yeah, it looks good, man.
Thank you.
Leave in the comment section how you like the lights. Which one's better? Did I do it better or did Corey do it better?
We can do some who wore it best stuff.
I think we're gonna who wore it best.
Whose beard is more manly? Come on, bro.
Yeah. I mean, you had time to grow it out. You're gonna have to cut that off.
This is religious exemption.
Religious exemption. Okay, Buddha.
Mm-hmm. I'm like Samson. This is where my power is.
Is there anything else that you want to cover?
No, I think that was cool, man. I think that was a cool intro. I think that it was nice that we had a pretty freewheeling conversation, kind of like we normally do out in the open, and hopefully people are interested to listen to it, and then take the same back to their lives and keep coming back for a little more, and or contributing.
Hey, well, everyone that watched this, please help us grow this because our ultimate goal is to have a more cohesive community, positive,
Absolutely.
cohesive community. So The more the better, the more the merrier.
In the famous words of Sean Williams, help me grow this.
Help me grow this, because you know how many subscribers we have, like, at this 0.
It only gets bigger, it only gets better.
It only gets bigger and it only gets better. Don't worry. Everything happens for a reason.
Don't worry, everything happens for a reason. If it doesn't get bigger and better, that's what God intended.
That's what God intended.
All right, we're getting out of here.
All right, buddy. Well, signing out. Thank you guys for watching.
Be good and be awesome to one another.
Please.